What's up, chess fans? This is Douglas. I'm here on Lee Chess, about to go over Game 10 of the World Chess Championship between Magnus Carlsen and Fabiano Caruana. We are all tied still going into Game 10, and they've been playing some top-level chess. So thanks for watching. I hope you like, subscribe, and let's get to the video. See how they did. All right, so Fabiano's the white pieces, and Magnus is the black pieces. We've got starting off with a Sicilian defense for Magnus, and captures with the pawn in the middle, and then recaptures with the knight, and then does not choose to recapture with his own knight, puts pressure on the pawn on e4 with his knight on f6. Ignores that, rather doesn't ignore it, brings out the knight, just like I've been saying in the past couple of videos, that they have been very active with their knights at the beginning. And throws a punch to the pawn. The pawn throws a punch at the knight. Does the knight choose to go or recapture? And the choice is, oh, neither one of those. Goes to b5. So is he going to be kicked away, or is that threat going to be ignored? And it is ignored. So we have both, and I've said this before in a couple of videos, maybe this is only my second video, but this side is considered to be the territory of Caruana, and then this is the territory for Magnus. So he's already got pretty early 2 pieces in his position, and we are going to potentially see that, maybe an exchange there or a take. And what do we have? These guys are moving fast. They've already gained 30 seconds each move. We have a recapture right away. So now do we have the capture and then throwing a punch at this knight? We do. So he goes back to his home square. And that, obviously these guys are top level. It's not recommended to just go back to your same square. So Magnus might feel that, but this World Championship chess, those were his best options, and he just decided to go back. So we have a pawn push with the A pawn, bishop out, maybe getting ready to castle for Magnus. Bishop out for Fabiano, same idea. Yes, castles and castles. So we're at 1:44, an hour and 44 minutes. And now we have 2 pawns pushing with the knight over. Now we throw a punch into that knight that was in his territory, and he decides to go back. Continues with the pawn push, because it does have 2 protecting. Whoops. If there is a take. And we have a take. Does he take with the rook or the queen? Probably the rook. And right away, the knight goes in there to throw a punch at the rook. The rook just steps back. Bishop up. Pawn coming up. I'm trying to get better at this in my own game, bringing these pawns up. Obviously, they're very comfortable with it. And we have a pawn push again. Now this has 2 protecting it and 2 eyeing it up. Okay. And let me guess, Magnus doesn't do anything. What do you think? Yes, he completely ignores it, throwing a punch at the bishop. And the bishop is running low on squares here, but he could just drop back. So I would think he's going to drop back. He's not just going to ignore this Caruana. And he does push. Okay. So he pushes, and then with this idea, and it's backed up with 1. And then maybe the rook comes over. The queen steps out of the way. No capture. Obviously. And we have the rook up. Are we going to see the rook up and over idea? Probably not, because then it would just be taken. But let's see what happens. Queen comes over. An hour for Magnus. And the bishop comes up. Pretty active bishop. The pawn goes up. Proceeds to march. And the king slides over. Throwing a punch at the knight. 30 minutes. That was a 15 minutes. Magnus thought about that for maybe en passant idea. And he can take with his bishop if this knight wants to drop back. What do we have in the game? We have the knight going up. We've got three pieces in Magnus's territory. And how does he respond? Taking with the knight first, recaptures with the bishop, not with the pawn, because that would be losing the rook if he did. Queen goes up. Now we have, interesting, this was probably the reason for this, sliding over this king. And he is at 30 minutes now. So, yeah, he took a 30 minute to about 15-20 minutes to think about that. Still a long time. Then throwing a push, throwing a little threat there, slides over and throwing a threat at his rook, and then he slides over. Now bishop, punch at the bishop, ready to offer the exchange, and he takes it. Takes the exchange, takes the pawn. Magnus, 13 minutes, even on time. Are they almost going to reach that? And taking the pawn there, reach the 40 move mark. Any moment. Throwing, offering the trade. Queen comes over to back up this pawn if this bishop is gone, because he would have 2 on this pawn, and that would be winning a pawn. So doesn't want that to happen. 9 minutes left each. Takes with the pawn. Now Caruana is even thinking, you know, somehow, maybe not that idea, maybe getting his queen here, and then his rook over, or even all the way over here to try to promote this pawn. It's a passed pawn. Magnus wants to stop that right away. I would see the rook coming over now to back it up. Well, he's threatening to take this pawn. They always do that. They always have multiple ideas. 3 minutes to 8 minutes. Comes back to defend. Slides up to get ready to potentially take this pawn. Slides over. This pawn is unprotected. Likely to be pushed here. Maybe it's to be ignored at this end game. It is offering the queen exchange. And the queen exchange, this is a tricky little area right here, because then he would need to slide over. Okay, what happens in the game? This is a vital point with 1 minute for Magnus left in the game. If he doesn't reach that mark, that time, he would lose the game. And that would be very bad for him. So he moves it. Rather, Fabiano moves it, and he's got 3 minutes. Takes with the rook so that he's not losing the structure. And this pawn cannot go anywhere. And now he's hitting this pawn. So something like this might come over. Let's see, 2 minutes. Backing up with the pawn first. Now we have a pawn little push. Okay, slides over. Sliding over. Just trying to reposition, maybe even this idea. No, that would be, what would that be? If he takes, no, that'd still be interesting. See, oh, we've hit the minutes now. Just barely hit the time. All right. Now he's got 2 on this pawn. Is this pawn falling, or is he sliding over? He slides up, and the king's coming. trying to get better position with the king. Those pawns aren't gonna go any farther. Rook up, because if he moves here, then that's a pawn. Decides to slide the rook over. Check. Is he going up or back? I'd say he's got to go back, right? For more protection, Magnus. He's got to go back here. Well, if he went there, the rook cannot go to b3. But he does decide to go back for the protection. Slides up, protecting the pawn. Now we have the exchange. Check first, and then, oh, a check again. Does not want to exchange rooks. Carlsen wants to exchange rooks, and now we have the exchange. Pawns are gone, 3-2. Can he? 20 minutes left until they hit another set of time controls, and that's it, right there. They decide to call it a draw. Fabiano does not want to try to push for this pawn, and yeah. So they had 13 and 20 minutes left. Game 10 is another draw. So we'll have to just wait and see game 11 and 12 if those two are draws, or if somebody's going to try to win one of those before there could be I mean, if one of them wins and then the other one wins the next one, then it could still go to the tiebreaker of the 4 games, 25 minutes total. I'll look into that a little bit more about how much, if there is a idea of that. But anyways, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and thanks for watching until the end. And here's the quote: to get motivated, go out there, play some chess. Each outing is its own game. You roll on your game plan. It is different. It's a different chess match each time you go out there. I just try to be prepared. That was by Jason Hammel. So yeah, you got to go with your game plan, like the famous chess player. Oh my goodness, I can't believe I forgot his name. He's like been the world champion for like 10 years. Oh man. But he was always aggressive, he said. I'll try to look into that for next one. To play aggressive. That was his style. I think I said that in one of the quotes. Anyways, thanks again for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Have a good one.